Hello all, Rick here with a playthrough of the Expanse, a Telltale game. If you liked Star Trek Resurgence, that game, then this might be for you too. Now, disclaimers first, I was sent a review copy, and in May of 2023 I was offered the chance to be flown out to LA for a press event and preview experience for the Expanse. As a sci-fi fan, of course this was a major no-brainer for me, so of course I accepted. This game is made by Telltale Games and Deck 9 Studios. Telltale is a company that make narrative-driven games, sort of like a choose-your-own-adventure book, in gameplay form, with the choices influencing the narrative. If you're not familiar with The Expanse, I highly recommend that series. Both the books and the shows are fantastic, with the shows being a relatively faithful adaptation of the book universe. Something of a rarity nowadays. Some minor changes, one of which is the storyline of this game's protagonist, Camina Drummer, which I'll get into later. Basically, The Expanse is a setting in the future, several hundred years, but unlike Star Trek or Star Wars, there is not any faster-than-light travel. The series places a greater emphasis on realistic space travel with a sci-fi edge, but things like inertia are responsible for gravity, as well as the long-term effects of microgravity on the human body and other such realistic hurdles. Nonetheless, mankind has populated the solar system, with the United Nations of Earth being based on an overcrowded but comfortable Earth, and another colony on Mars. Now that seeded from the UN and became its own Martian congressional republic. Mars is in the midst of a generations-long terraforming project, and at the moment it doesn't even have a breathable atmosphere. Everyone lives in domes. Each side's got its own naval force and military, but caught in between, supplying both sides, are those who live on the moons and outer planets as well as the asteroid belts. Notably, they mine water and other minerals to sell to both sides, and in recent history they formed their own faction, or factions, called the Outer Planets Alliance. This is basically a group of smaller cells and factions, all with their own notions of what an OPA government should look like, so it's very hectic among them. 3 factions. The UN is Earther, MCR is Mars, and the OPA are known as the Belters, even if they don't all live on asteroid belts. They tend to have it rougher than those who live on the planets. For those familiar with The Expanse, this tale is set 7 years prior to the opening of the show, and following Camina Drummer, a character who does feature more prominently in the series than the books, which gives Deck 9 Studios a lot more room to play with her history, as it was mostly ambiguous in the books aside from some basics. Unfortunately, the series, as you can probably tell from the background, also makes use of copyrighted music, but there is an option to mute that for streaming and recordings, so that's what I'm going to have to do from now on, because although me talking over it should not cause much of an issue, there are definitely scenic moments that benefit from the ambience, so I don't know, maybe I'll just throw in some royalty-free tracks during the edit if needs be. With that all said, I've messed with the volume levels, added some subtitles, made sure things are all running. I've played through episode 1 in its entirety before, during that event I mentioned, but no further, so I look forward to playing more. The game is available on the Epic Store, and this is where I got my copy, and it will be released over every 2 weeks for a total of 5 parts. Thanks for watching this. I guess disclaimer and briefing is out of the way. Let's get out there.